Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Vincent with Outdoor Outreach. I'm a field instructor, former Outdoor Outreach participant, and leadership program graduate. And for those of you who are new here, Outdoor Outreach is a San Diego-based youth development nonprofit that connects youth to the outdoors as a space for them to build resilience and confidence in their power to make a difference. Today, I'm joined by Tatiana Butte and special guest Luis Perez, who is a former Outdoor Outreach program graduate and staff member, along with Justin Forrest Parks, who is joining us from NOLS, the National Outdoor Leadership School. And me and Luis go way back, and I enjoyed being able to feed off one another's energy and build off each other's strengths as young adults in the environmental ed world. So with that, we'll do a quick few introductions before we jump into our Q&A with Luis and Justin. So Tati, I'll pass it off.
Beautiful job.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tatiana Butte. I am a 2019 leadership program graduate, which Luis was the program coordinator. I am a alumni of Morris High School, where I found outdoor outreach. I am also a student at San Diego City College, where I'm studying communications and criminal justice. So I'll pass it off to Luis.
Everyone, thanks, Tati. So as you know, my name is Luis Perez. I used to be a former participant at Outdoor Outreach, which I got introduced to it at my high school, El Cajon Valley High School. And that's when I just really enjoyed what I found out through Outdoor Outreach, the kind of like the passion and the love for the outdoors. And then I later on joined their leadership program in 2013. And yeah, I just really enjoy that. And then I'll pass it over to Tati again.
All right, thanks, Luis. And so next we have a special guest joining us today, Justin Forrest Parks. They're the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Manager and Field Instructor at NOLS. Justin, welcome.
Hey, y'all. Thank you so much. I'm so excited and honored to be here with Outdoor Outreach. Love your community. I'm Justin Forrest Parks. My pronouns are they, them, or kin. My pronouns are actually rooted in my love for and connection to everything. So something I'm happy to talk about later. But I work as the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Manager at NOLS, also a field instructor. And I currently live in Lander, Wyoming, Northern Arapaho, Eastern Shoshone land. And I'm from Chicago. So thank you all for letting me join you here.
Awesome. Thank you for that intro, Justin. And with that, I'll pass it off to Tati to kick off our Q&A. And for viewers at home, feel free to chime in and join in on our conversation with comments or questions in the chat box. And I'll kick it off to you, Tati.
Thank you, Vinny. So good afternoon, Justin. How's your Monday going so far?
Pretty good. I've had a snack. It's becoming really warm out here, so I'm as happy as a clam. Not sure why clams are so happy, but I'm gonna join.
Yes, I'm missing the weather right now, so I'm gonna go out for a little walk after this. So to kick off the questions, can you tell us a little bit more about the leadership philosophy of NOLS?
Absolutely. So NOLS has kind of its own philosophy and leadership, really taking and borrowing from many different lessons that we've all learned. And tried to compile into one. So we use something called the 4-7-1. The 4 is in regards to our 4 leadership roles. To break those down really quickly, it's the designated leader, which is someone who's appointed into leading. Essentially in that role, they might create the plan for the day or create the plan for the year, etc., as we might see in different areas of life. They also might be in charge of delegating tasks, but also being engaged in the process themselves. So they're not just like, you go do all of the work and I'll sit here. They are a part of the team, but they might have to be part of that process. Active followership is the second one. So being a part of the team, although the leader might come up with the plan or be tasked with that responsibility, an active leader might say, okay, well, I actually have really great map reading skills. I actually might be a great cook. So I'm gonna step in and help out the designated leader in these different roles. If there's a conversation going on, being active in providing feedback or thoughts or ideas, and being a part of the team in that aspect as well. The other leadership role is peer leadership. So stepping up to bat when things are going on that might not be asked of us. So when we're in camp or in the field at NOLS, sometimes you have to get water. And it's a little bit of a hike. Sometimes you might have to help your colleague or fellow camping folks like with packing a bag or packing up the tent. And so sometimes it won't be a designated leader saying, hey, Justin, you should go do this. But I can step in, I'll see what needs to be done and just kind of hop in. Last one is self-leadership. So really looking at self and knowing one's needs, wants, thoughts, feelings really deeply. In an outdoor setting, this becomes really crucial. And I'll talk about this in a moment in the leadership skills. If you are hungry or you're thirsty or you're cold and you can't acknowledge it yourself, it can become really hard to be, an active follower to the best of your capacity, to be a designated leader. So again, being able to know those things about yourself, being able to ask for help, or again, sometimes be able to provide those things for yourself if you know how. As well. So for the 7 leadership skills, and Luis, feel free to pop in anywhere as well, since you are a NOLS instructor and part of this community. I'm going to just name them off and then I'll go back. So we've got expedition behavior, competency, communication, judgment and decision-making, tolerance for adversity and uncertainty. That's a huge one right now as we're in COVID that I'm seeing transferable outside of the field. Self-awareness and vision and action. So briefly to talk about these, expedition behavior is really just being a great community member, being respectful, being able to, again, provide kind of those little moments of joy for folks in the field. One of my favorite things that we call expedition behavior, EB. Sometimes it's cold out, you're cooking, someone else is doing things, they're being great members of the team as well. And whoever's cooking is, learns your favorite hot drink, the warm thing, hot cocoa, lemonade, etc. And so they'll whip it up, they'll make it for you even though you didn't ask for it and drop it off. And you're kind of like, whoa, holy smokes. This was just like a moment that I didn't ask for, that I wasn't saying I needed, but you knew, you like paid attention and was able to provide that. Competence. There's a lot of skills that we learn at NOLS that we learn in life. So again, being able to sit with yourself and know what your strengths are, know what your weaknesses are, be a part of that planning process in figuring out your goals for yourself. And holding yourself responsible. Sometimes that's hard to say, ooh, I struggle with this. I know personally, I love to do the things I'm great at. And then when it comes down to doing the things where I need a little more practice, sometimes I'm like, I'll just go over there and do the other thing. And so to really like continue to grow, I have to like hold myself responsible there or ask someone else to help me through that process as well. Communication is a huge one. I think it's maybe even one of the most essential in our 7. Being able to provide feedback, self-feedback, feedback for your peers and your colleagues. In the field, again, one of the things NOLS does a lot is get used to that feedback process. We have one-on-one check-ins. We check in at the end of the course. Even after you come out of the field, someone else will check in with you who wasn't on the course just to say, how was the experience? How could we make it better? Is there anything else that you want to state? Or things that went really well? Let's share that as well. Judgment and decision-making. Going outside, as I'm sure you all know, can be risky. We like go out there and we do these amazing, fun, adventurous things, but sometimes there is real risk involved. And not just physical, emotional risk as well. So really with this, being able to assess, again, where you are and in the situation where your colleagues are. I've often seen folks have to navigate ooh, I think I can do this. You know, I am in a place where physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I am ready to go after this, but someone else on the team is not quite there. They need a little extra help, a little more time to practice something. And so we have to be aware of that as we move into different terrain and work through things together. So that's kind of what that skill is about. Tolerance for adversity and uncertainty. Oh, this is like number one at NOLS. You are definitely going to be uncomfortable at some point. And that is like life. I'm going to just put it out there. If you haven't been uncomfortable yet, you probably will be. And if you aren't, I want to know how you're pulling that off. Anyway, this is learning to sit with that, learning to kind of look for the moments of joy in those harder, challenging moments, looking for the growth in them. You might not be able to find joy all the time, but being able to kind of transform that experience as well. I've had some courses where we've gone through some extraordinarily hard things. I was on a mountaineering course that I led. We got stuck with a blizzard for a couple of days. Food and water felt low. And all the while we were all like, oh my gosh, are we ever gonna get off this glacier? And at the end of the course, I found out that that was our students' favorite moments, you know, because we really had to sit with each other, learn from each other, cry with each other. And in that, you know, I love moisturizers and really nice smelling things. You often don't want to bring that on a backcountry trip, but on a glacier, it was okay. And while we were stuck, I was like, let's lotion up, let's put on the nice scents. You know, we're stuck in a blizzard, but we can still live our best lives. So, you know, that's one of my favorite. Self-awareness goes back into kind of the self-leadership, really getting to know oneself. And that happens through a process. You're not going to necessarily come out on NOLS or in life and say, I know everything I need to know about myself. It's always a journey. And that's why we're here to help as outdoor outreach staff and instructors, as NOLS staff and instructors. We're so excited to help you through that process. And then vision and action is the last one. So again, moving back into this place of seeing something that needs to be done and then being able to like step in and just do it. And part of that might be you can't do it alone. Community is huge. Community care is essential. So being able to motivate, inspire, engage folks in that process as well and get them excited to join you in doing these things. Sometimes the things we have to do are not the things that we want to do. So having a spirit that can say, let's go get that water, let's go cook, let's go take care of our friend. You know, actually, let's slow down so that we can accommodate and create a space for everyone as well. So that's the 4 and the 7, and then the 1 is our signature style. So just putting your own twist on all of these, right? It doesn't need to be rigid. You don't need to just look, I'm looking at a screen just to remember everything. But you know, you don't need to go down the list and go, okay, did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that perfectly? Did I do that in order? You can like switch it up. You can say, this is me. I love music. I am terrible with time actually, because I think I love to let conversations breathe and let organic moments happen. And then if I need to step in and have a little bit more say or movement in there, I'm able to as well. So that's kind of our leadership style in a quick nutshell.
Thank you. Thank you. The whole, all what your conversation was, it was very much of telling that everyone has a different aspect. And during this pandemic, we can see that like self-awareness is such a big deal right now, that we need to be self-aware of what we're doing and what we're doing for ourselves and for others. So thank you so much for touching on all the philosophies of NOLS. So Luis, it's been a while. Haven't seen you so long.
Yes,
so
it has been.
Yes. So I want to ask you about what was your experience being being a NOLS instructor, and being aware of being a outdoor outreach participant.
Yeah, definitely. So to begin with, as a participant with NOLS taking those courses, first of all, I was already really out of my comfort zone. Even right now, public speaking has always not been my forte at all. Also, like being born in Mexico and then coming to the US and not being able to having to learn English, I was always really, really shy as a kid. And so when I got to be able to join the outdoors with Outdoor Outreach first, I really had to work on myself and just being comfortable with being other people in an area where my family would never be able to. We didn't really have the opportunity to be able to go out as much. So when I started going outdoors, that's when I started like being more involved with the with my hard skills, as you can say. Like I really took a natural liking to rock climbing, surfing, and such. However, as I was moving on to NOLS, that's when I started learning a lot more of the soft skills that Justin was mentioning earlier, and all those were the ones that I had to focus on a lot, so that I can be able to lead the rest of my team. And at first, I thought this is probably not going to be for me. This is just really hard, and I think it'll be better if I just stay to my comfort zone. However, like that's not how life works. We always want to make sure that we're striving for more. And so that's when NOLS came in, and then yeah, like he was saying, it really kicks your butt. I remember on my first course with them, it was flipboarding, and then that's when I was just in a lot of feet of snow. We had to be living inside of kind of like a shelter of ice. So yeah, that was like already like wow. And so as I continued like the path with those, yeah, being able to lead the rest of my team was just really scary. And so as I tried to continue with this path, that's when like I really had to take a step back and then just like work on myself first. Like I can't lead the rest of my team when I myself am not even comfortable with what we have to do in the daily life. And so like slowly, day by day, that's when I had to learn more about risk management. It's not just me out there having fun and kind of like doing what I want to do. There's a team when we have to work together. And so I think, yeah, moving on to the NOLS path as an instructor is what really called to me to be able to continue with doing. So yeah, I think risk management is one of the things that I took mostly with being an instructor. And then hopefully you can speak to that as well, Tati, as being one of my students. Hopefully you can see that was like always one of my top priorities in our outings.
Yes, it was. You always were like, we need like risk management and we have to be comfortable without being comfortable. And thank you for being uncomfortable in a situation where you get to speak publicly. So I can see that being uncomfortable in situations are just a way of life, and you need to like slowly but surely get to them and be able to prevail them. And you're breaking through it adversity. So thank you. Next question is for Justin. Ideally, what is the success of a NOLS graduate walking away from the program?
Yeah, I believe, many of the skills, walking away with many of the skills that we talked about before and that Luis just talked about feels super important. And I think as long as folks go out and come back with those pieces, that is success for me. If you've just learned a little bit more about yourself and gone, cool, I'm going to bring this back. I'm going to keep working on it. I'm going to challenge myself. It's exciting. And then I think it gets more exciting when we realize these skills aren't solely for the outdoors. And so when we go back to our communities, our homes, our families, and we go, hey, I learned this thing and I want to like bring this to you. That's where it gets exciting. That's where I think this like really cool world building work comes from. Also, one of the things I hope folks come back from courses with is family. Family and deep friends. I know all of the courses I've worked or come off of and just our NOLS community in general feels such like a tight-knit community, and it's so cool to watch because we've been able to sit with these different things. Even right now, outside of being in the field, we're moving through navigating COVID and Corona as a community. And there's a lot of heavy and challenging and hard things that we're carrying, but using those skills, again, that we just talked about, brings us closer, because we were able to be vulnerable and open with each other as well.
Yes, and this is another question I wanted to ask you. Why is it so important to implement and promote diversity, equality, and inclusion in the outdoors?
Oh, stop. That's my favorite question. Yeah, so I work in DE&I work, diversity, equity, and inclusion work, or some call Jedi work, which I would love to be a Jedi master or manager. The J stands for justice. This work gets me really excited because it's, again, as I mentioned, not exclusive to going outside or the outdoor industry or outdoor recreation. And so these are skills that, again, mix with the skills that we just talked about, but are essential in everyday life. You know, when we wake up and we go, cool, I want to create a space that creates spaces and worlds that are built for and see everyone, it's amazing. And so one of the things with being outside that's really cool with that is we can play with all of it. We can change space, we can change route, we can change lesson so easily. And so it makes it accessible to do these things. One of the other reasons why I think it's really important for this work specifically in the outdoor industry and outdoor recreation and education, not all spaces were built with folks in mind, whether deliberately or undeliberately. And so what that means is we will sometimes say, you're welcome here. Come on in, come assimilate, come hang out if you're kind of like us. But then others, and I know I felt this in different spaces throughout life, that I'll go somewhere and I go, cool, they say I can come here. But I don't know if they like see me, if they want to see all of me, if they want to accept all of me. And so really being able to engage in this work becomes essential because these are spaces that are all of ours. You know, as we talk about the outdoors, as we talk about public lands, as we talk about Native and Indigenous spaces and land, and the history there that is heavy and hard and still ongoing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for asking that question. Next is Luis. What is one piece of advice you will give to folks who are looking to develop their own leadership skills?
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing that I was working on was just self-growth. You know, being able to stay open-minded whenever there's something that's not working out. Justin spoke a lot to tolerance for adversity and uncertainty, which, what does that mean? Pretty much whenever something just goes wrong, the first thing that may come to mind is like, oh, I hate this, it's not for me, I can't do this. And I experienced that when there was a full day where we had to hike and we had to make up some miles, and then we still had to go get our pickup for all our food, and we were just so tired. We were setting up camp at night. And then after that day, some of my instructors talked to me the following day when I was a little more open-minded to feedback. And then I didn't even realize that I was doing all those things where I was just not working out with my team and just being like kind of snappy. So being able to be aware of all your how you work as a team. It's like first being able to identify those and working off of those. You can't lead a team when you can't lead yourself first, right? You have to be able to get up early in the morning, take care of your things, and then being able to take care of your things before you can help others. And that's another really great lesson that you'll learn if you were to just go outside and being able to go with your family. You know, there's always going to be a couple things that happen here and there. Not everybody's going to be happy. And so being able to work this out. It's also another really important thing when I was learning my wilderness first responder certification is I can't help somebody who's injured when maybe there's some other things that I haven't noticed. And if you were to just rush into action and there's something else that I'm not really looking at, that can really yeah, that could, I wouldn't be able to help them if I can't like take care of myself first and like see what's going on around.
Yes. Being more self-aware of yourself and your surroundings as well.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so last and final question for the both of you. Do you have any final thoughts or comments you'd like to leave with us today?
Ooh. Luis? Okay.
Yeah, I think I would like to emphasize again on the being open-minded. I can't stress it enough until you can, it's actually happening until you get first experience in it is not going to click until then, you know? So being able to, that would be my advice. Just, especially right now with being everything that's happening, there's a lot of time for us to work on ourselves. And if it's not now, then when? So yeah, let's just start with you being number one.
Ooh, can I second that? I'm gonna say that you belong, you matter, you are number one. And then remember to like bring that feeling to everyone else. Yeah, one of the things that I feel like it surprises me every day. I wake up, I'm like, I have this wonderful job, I have a fantastic community, I get to go outside for work. And that's like, it brings me joy. But whether it be you know, rock climbing, mountaineering, becoming a political leader, you know, if you think gardening is your thing, if you think being an astronaut, fun fact, all astronauts take a NOLS course, right? These are all things you can do. And so being out there is gonna be like one place where you can learn that lesson, but whether you go on a NOLS course, whether you continue going outside, just remember, you belong there, you matter, you can do it. You don't need to compare yourself to others. So in looking at all of the things that you could do it differently. Switch it up, feel free to like imagine and dream and create a whole new world. And then remember to create that world with everyone else in mind as well.
Thank you so much, the both of you. Now I will pass over to Vinny.
Wow, yeah, thank you both for answering this question so deeply and detailed. And I feel like the folks at home really got a chance to know both of you very well and get a sense of like the history and you know what you do at NOLS. For myself, I took a split boarding course like Luis back in 2013, and it was life changing. And I learned a lot about myself and about others, and how I deal with myself and others. So it was awesome. So again, thank you both very much. Just gonna look over here right now to our Facebook comments and see what folks are saying at home. Justin, you got a shout out. Everybody's wooting and hooting and hollering on here. You rock, Luis, says Amanda.
Yeah.
David says, boom. Oh, yes. He says, Christina says, this conversation is really making me miss hiking. That's awesome. So to all of our community members and our participants, thank you for tuning in and logging on and just following our conversation today. Just like to once again thank our guests, Tatiana, Luis, and Justin for joining us today. And thank you to the audience for tuning in. Just like to remind everybody that we have a YouTube video coming out Wednesday with a virtual outing. So please make sure you tune in and have a great rest of the week and have an awesome Monday. See y'all next time.
Oh.